Welcome to our final project, Web Wizards HomeNest by Aneesh, Uriel, and me, Adia. We also linked our GitHub link right below so you can see our process. So the statement of problem for this project is to build a fully functional website which allows a user to sign up and log in to access a seller dashboard. And on this seller dashboard, they'll be able to upload pictures of a home they'd like to sell and also put in any information about it to help sell it. So like the price of the home, the square footage, the number of rooms and bathrooms, if it has a garden, and any other good areas around the house, like schools and stuff. The general requirements of this project includes the homepage and user registration, which was milestone 1. The second one was the user login, and that's milestone 2. And then the seller dashboard, which is milestone 3. So this team structure and responsibilities. So first we have our team leader, Aneesh. He worked on initializing the database as well as creating the homepage. And he also handled the CSS as well as drawing the UML diagram and contributing to the PowerPoint. Then next we have Uriel, and he worked on the login sign up pages, as well as creating that seller dashboard and the CSS and working on the PowerPoint. And then we have me, Adia, who did the CSS as well and the creators page and the PowerPoint. So objectives of this project. So first we have the main objective, which was to create an interactive seller dashboard for homes. And we use this by using CSS and PHP along with JavaScript. The elements of this project include the home page, which was created using CSS and PHP. And that included the description of our project, the services that our site provided, and why users should use our site over others. And we also had a statement about our commitment to the users. In the seller dashboard, once the user logs in, they are then able to view any of their listed properties, so like the address, square footage, the age of the home, the number of beds and bathrooms. The user is also able to delete any homes they want or edit any information as well. Then with user input, that is them inputting the home information on the dashboard.
Okay, so our first milestone was the homepage. So the homepage first, it has a header that contains the title of our website, along with the options to either log in or sign up. And underneath that, there's a hero section which has greetings for the user, along with the slogan. There's also a learn more button that when you click, it will smooth scroll to the sections that gives more details about the website and companies, such as like what we do or like our services. And you can see like in the video that click on the learn more button and then it just scrolls all the way down where like you can continue scrolling to view the rest of the section. And then you can see in the code like the way I wrote it was each block is like a separate section, and hero section is at the top. And the hero section, when you click on the learn more button, it takes you to the first section, which is the what we do. So so the CSS for this homepage, it involved a lot of transitions, animations and stuff. So the header, it has a curved bottom borders that become straight when hovered on, which creates kind of like a modern theme to it. And the header disappears if you start scrolling down, so it doesn't like be in your way if you want to like view the other sections. And I think as you see in the GIF below, that the learn more button has hover effects. Like when you hover over it, it changes color or like moves up a little, so it feels like kind of like a 3D feel to it. The four sections under the hero sections, they have text effects where if you hover over them, they will enlarge to put the focus on that section. And the footer appears once you scroll down at the end of the page. Kind of like how like when you scroll up ahead. There's also a dark filter on the background image. So the text like on the hero section, like the greeting and the slogan can pop up. So you can see in the code, the section, I added like padding, transitions, text align, and then there's a transition for the hovering, which is I set above with 0.3 seconds to give it like that smooth feeling. And you can see in the hero ID CSS, I built the filter by putting a like kind of like a div right on top of the background. And the footer is basically using the transform feature of the CSS, so it only appears when I scroll all the way down to. So user registration is the next part of milestone one. So a new accounts table is created in the database that stores the user registration data such as username, email, and password. People can register in a pop-up box that appears when you click on the sign up in the header. And it opens a pop-up box that gets data from a different PHP file. And if the user tries to register with username or email that is already in the database, then the user will get alerted about it. You can see the arrows pointing to a picture where it shows you how the error will look like. So say username or email already exists. The user has a choice to immediately switch to the login pop-up if they want to log in instead of register. JS was used to make this happen. So it'll be like easier for the user, if they did to sign up and they remember that they already had an account, so they can easily switch over. The sign up pop-up there gets info from the sign up PHP file. It I basically got the data using like the includes tag, which is available in PHP. That just makes it easier than like creating a new page just for the logins. So you can see the create table that is used to create the accounts table. We have it. We have an ID, username, name, last name, first name. We have the email. We have a password, and then we have an account type, which is buyer, seller, or admin. And you can see that we use the pop-up one built in the index.php file. Um, and you can see the include tag that I used. So the next milestone is the user login. The login part of the website is used by verifying data within the accounts. So once the user signs up successfully, they'll be automatically taken to the login pop-up where they'll be alerted that their sign up went through. They can log in. You can see where the arrow is pointing to. You can see that it says sign up successful. You can log in green. That means you can continue to log in. If the user types in invalid details, then a new alert is shown in red that says that they entered the details, which is done in a and this is done in a nearly duplicate of the login.php file called the login1.php. You can see in the picture it says invalid username, email, or password in red, so you know that you have valid details. And you can see the code. We done this by first verifying if the user and password are in the database. And if it does, then it checks the account type, and then it takes you to the account that you chose. So if you chose seller, then it was seller dashboard. And but if it wasn't successful, then it takes you to the login where you have to retype your login details. And see how it filters the username and like the email. Basically check like if the email was entered correctly. And you can see the how the form was built. Basically, when you type in the data into login page, it sends the values back into the same place file so that it can so that I can check with the database.
Okay, so we chose to do the milestone 3, which is the seller dashboard. For our front end, we use HTML, PHP, and CSS to display the houses in the form of cards, as you can see from this picture. We also use JavaScript for buttons and pop-ups for the edit and add specifically. And each house data is that's being displayed is specific to the house ID of each house. And that's also specific to the seller that is logged in currently. And for our backend, we used a PHP. We use some session variables. So, for example, we had to store the current user ID, and we also use PHP to grab the house information from the database. So, if you can see this code snippet, this is where we make sure that we're selecting all the houses from the seller ID, which is the current user that's stored in the session. And then we use for loops, also PHP and HTML to display the house card details. And then that's also specific using the house variables. And then for our add and edit functions, our add grabs the data from the forms from our pop-ups, as you can see here in the GIF, and it populates the database. And there's only three variables that aren't grabbed from the form, and that would be the house ID, which is uniquely made every single time a house is added. Seller ID, which is the current seller, which is grabbed from the session ID, and then the property tax, which is also automatically calculated with the price that's inputted. You can see here on the left, this is how we input all the data, or this is how we grab the data. And a cool thing that we added was a file upload. So the file upload will upload the file that the user wants to upload. It'll store it using a temp name, and it'll upload that to the database, and it'll also upload it to the images file in the COD server. And let's say the user doesn't add an image, it'll just automatically um, input as null and then stored in the database as null. So for the edit, it's similar. It's another form pop-up. And basically what we do is we grab that specific house ID and we populate the form already so the user can see what data has already been inputted, and they can edit each and every one of them, or um they can what's it called? They can change like the garden and the parking. And this is our SQL query. So this is how we update everything. All the information that's in the form is automatically updated. So um it's not checking for every single input that was changed. It's just updating everything again. And we also added an undo changes to reset the form. And for our delete function, we added a delete button to every house, and it's handled by JavaScript. We basically, when the delete button is clicked, we ask for confirmation because, deleting is a big thing. We want to make sure the user is sure they want to delete the house, and if they confirm, it'll take them to the update house PHP. It'll make delete true, and then it'll grab the specific house ID they want to delete. And this is how we use SQL. We delete the house where the ID is equal to the house ID that they want to delete, and the seller ID is the current seller. And then it takes them back to the seller dashboard. So some test cases we wanted to handle were the sign up. So if the username or email already exists, an error message pops up, like how Anish said before. The login, if the inputted password doesn't match the inputted user's password, or the user's password, an error message will be displayed. And if the inputted username or email does not exist, then an error message will be displayed as well. And for the add a house functionality, the form only allows for the correct information. So, for example, only numbers are allowed when inputting price, and like beds and bath. So, only numbers can be inputted into that form. And then, if no image is submitted, obviously it will just populate the database as null and print out a default image. Then for the edit functionality, the form also doesn't allow empty values, so make sure every value is updated or it's been changed, except for the optional values, which is the proximity facilities and the proximity roads. Those can be blank. And then the delete function, uh, we included a confirmation, obviously, with JavaScript to make sure that the user wants to delete the house from the database, and then it will go ahead and delete it. And what's important, an important thing that our website does is that the seller ID is always included in the house information. So that only allows the seller of the house to delete or edit the house and not any other user. It has to be that seller.
So we faced several challenges throughout this project. The first challenge would be getting the header to disappear when the user starts scrolling, so they're able to view the screen easier, as well as the second challenge is avoiding overflow when enlarging sections on the homepage. The third challenge was getting the login pop-up box to show an alert when the user enters any invalid information. The fourth challenge was getting the sign up pop-up to take the user to the login pop-up after they have successfully created an account already. The fifth challenge was designing the pop-up boxes and aligning them on the homepage correctly so that it fits in the screen. Challenge 6 was updating property details that are already saved in the database. And one of the last challenges was creating the correct lines of SQL code to create the table and also creating the right variables. And this is just our project dialogue collaborations, which just shows us committing our information to the GitHub repository.
So this is our activity diagram. So the first step of the diagram is that when the user gets on a website, they see the index.php page, which is basically the home page, and they have the option to choose between login and sign. If they so they chose login or sign up, they will automatically be taken to the initialized database of PHP, which either creates a table if it doesn't exist, or if it does, it just keeps it active so that it can access data from it later. So after initial database.php, you either go to the login.php or the signup.php, whichever one that you chose. Um, if you chose a signup.php and there was an unsuccessful signup, then you'll go back to signup.php so you can try again. If you successfully sign up, then you'll be taken to a login.php. So once in a login.php and there was an unsuccessful login, then you go into login1.php, which is basically another login where it shows you the error. And if there's an unsuccessful login again, then you just go back to login1.php. And if there's a successful login, then you continue on to the initialize seller process.php. And if there's a successful login, then you go to the seller dashboard.php. So the initialize underscore seller houses.php is the same thing as the first initialize.php. It just creates a database for like the actual property system. So and once you're in the seller's dashboard.php, you have the option to either add property, edit the property, or delete the property. If you want to add the property or delete the property, you do both of those within the seller dashboard.php, so you just go back to the same page. But if you want to edit the property, then it takes you to the edit house.php, which then takes you to the update house.php. Then once all the changes are made, then you'll go back to the seller dashboard.php. Choose to log out, then it'll take you back to the index.php.
So here's our demo. We'll start at the index HTML page. It's just the description of our project. And here's our index PHP, which is our main page. You can scroll down, uses JavaScript. You can see. Learn more takes you to what we do. We can either choose to log in or sign up. Let's say, so I have an account already made. So if I want to create an account that does not that already exists, it will give us an error. The username or email already exists. So you can go ahead and log in. But let's say we try to log in with an account that does not exist. Error message will pop up, invalid username, email, or password. So let's just create a sign up. It will be a seller, obviously. Sign up successfully. We'll be taken to login pop up. We can log in. And then we're taken to our seller dashboard. Since we don't have any houses, we have to create one. So we can go ahead and create one. Before I create one, let me show you the database. So here's, you can see we just created an account right here. Test last test Gmail. That's our account. Our password is saved with the hash, so no one can see our password in the database. And then these are existing houses, but we're gonna go ahead and add another one. So we're gonna call it test drive. Has a garden. Let's say it has a school, but no main roads. And then we'll choose this picture. We'll add a house, and it will display it in the form of cards. And if we come here, and look at our houses, we can see that it populated the database and it grabbed our ID, which is 2 test drive right here, and all the information, and then our temp image file. We can go ahead and edit this. So let's call it this edit. And then we'll change the price to 600,000. And then we'll add a main road. Then we can save our changes. You can see our changes have been saved. Everything is updated. If you come back here, you can see that the database has also been updated. Then we can also delete our house. So we'll go ahead and delete. It'll ask for confirmation. If we say no, it won't delete it. But let's go ahead and delete this house. And then here we go. Deleted it from our dashboard. Come back here again. Check the seller houses. You can see our new house was deleted. And then from here, we can just log out, and that is our demo.